Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry we haven't been around lately. We have both been pretty busy with work and life and stuff. Just, regular stuff going on. But here we are today, throwing on a leveling kit onto Manny's truck, the Colorado ZR2. Should be a pretty fun process. This should be all the tools we need. Nothing crazy. Couple of sockets, a hammer, pry bar, impact gun, and that should be it. But let's get into it. All right, guys. First step. Let's measure the height of the wheel well now, because we should be getting at least 3/4 of an inch lift. So we're gonna measure from the base of the wheel to the top of the wheel well and see what we got. And then at the end, we're gonna measure again. Should be 3/4 of an inch higher. So let's see what we got. We got 37 1/4 with the lift. That should land us at 38 1/4. So let's see what we got. Let's lift this wheel off the ground. Start taking stuff apart. First step, you want to make sure if your wheel has a wheel lock key, make sure you have it, because you won't be able to get that off. In this case, Manny has it. Now, the back of the wheel lock should be the same size nut as the rest of your lugs. So let's crank on it. All right, so a couple components here have to be disconnected. You want to, in this order, disconnect your tie rod end here, hang that out. Your sway bar end link, you want to disconnect that, because this whole thing is going to come down. Once you do those two, you disconnect the upper control arm ball joint to the knuckle here, and then that'll all come down. Oh, you also want to disconnect your ABS sensor, which is a little bracket back here. You just want to take that off. You don't want this to stretch with the movement of this, because this is the wire for it. It's already like fully stretched out. So we definitely want to take this off, because you got plenty more slack here. And yeah, that's it. Let's get into it. First step, we're going to drop this outer tie rod end. That's it. All right, so now to drop the tie rod, there's one solid rod that goes through. The bottom is a 14 millimeter, top is a 15, and you'll basically have to just hold one back while you turn the other. You got the 14 here on the bottom, and the 15 top side. All right, we got the tie rod end link out. You just, when you put it back, the bolt side is on the bottom, nut side is on top, and just put it back together in the orientation in which it came out. Just set it aside for now. The next step would be to remove the ABS sensor bracket, which is right here, a little 10 millimeter. Shouldn't be too big a deal to crack loose. So okay, so following the ABS bracket we just removed, follow the line up. You got the upper section of your wire. It's just held in by a plastic clip. You just want to pry that open and release this rubber bushing from holding it in place. All right, next step, we want to get this ball joint disconnected from the knuckle here. And that's going to be an 18 millimeter socket. It's kind of hidden back underneath in the back here. You just crank on it and he'll come straight loose. All right, that's good. Okay, so to disconnect the ball joint from the knuckle, you got your 18 millimeter nut here, but in the middle you have a Allen key hole. to hold back the stud of the ball joint there. So Manny here does a bunch of off-roading. It's full of dirt. I can't really get my Allen key in there. So we're just gonna clean it out. We're gonna get our 18 on there. There. Get our 9mm socket. As best we can. There we go. She's on. Alright. But get your wrench on. Hold back. And then just crank. I'm tightening. There we go. All right, we got the knuckle disconnected from the upper control arm, which is exactly what we want. Once we crack these loose, the bottom bolts for the coil over here, we just got to disconnect 3 crown nuts here on the top of the coil over, which are 18mm. And I'm just going in with a straight wrench because that's really all that fits in there. Okay, after that, you want to crack underneath here. You got some bolts that are 15mm. You don't have to worry about a holdback because the nut is integrated into the suspension here. If you can see, it's part of it, so you don't really have to hold it back at all. You just get under there with your 15 and crack them loose. You see the stud here is loosening, and the bracket just holds it in place. That's your next step. All right, we got all of our crown nuts out. We got the bottom studs out, holding this in place. So this sucker should be free. Gingerly follow a path. Okay, there we go. Here she is. All right, guys, we got the coil out. We got it nice and cleaned up. We got our leveling spacer in the proper position. So if you have a ZR2, just like this one, the reservoir goes towards the motor. You want to make sure you hold it like this, and you make sure the logo of the leveling kit is on the outside. Also, it's shaped like that, which is the same as the top hat. So just make sure it's like that. Now, getting it into position is a little tricky. What I found the best way, I go in backwards, and then once it's all the way up there, I twist it, just because of the reservoir gets in the way of everything. So let's get this installed. Let me know when you're ready. Oh, shit. Oh, we'll cut that out. No. There we go. Thank you. All right. Line up the studs up top with the holes for the bolts to go on. Get it in position down there. And that's basically where it's going to sit. So now the first step after that, we're going to get these in first. Then we'll lift this up, get the nuts up top, and that's it. And it's just as simple as reassembling everything that we took apart, like Legos. So the stock bolts that came off the coilover on the top of the coil bucket, they were 18mm, but we're not using those anymore. The new ones for this particular leveling kit are 15mm, so you should have a bit of an easier time jamming those down. Those were a bit of a pain because of the size of them and the lack of space in above the coil bucket there. All right, once you get your shock in place and everything buttoned up, tighten down. The first step after that would be to get your knuckle back onto the ball joint for your upper control arm. I actually had to pull the jack out and jack this up because now there's a lot more tension within the coil there because of the new spacer. It's like you're taking something that's now designed to fit in a particular space with a bigger gradient of area. Now you have to really, it's really hard. You have to jack it up right at the bottom here just to get your upper control arm ball joint into place here. So after that, we're going to put our outer tower ride back in place, and then we're going to get our sway bar end link back in position, button everything up together, tighten everything down, and this side will be complete. Obviously, we have to put this back on, that back on, a bunch of little things here and there, but other than that, it's a straightforward procedure from here on out. We got the upper ball joint in from the knuckle there. That's nice and torqued down. It's a bit of a pain because you got to get from earlier your 9mm hex head Allen key up in there. Now we're working on the control arm. I mean, dang, that don't even reach now. Okay, we got to jack it up again. See how the tie rod end link don't reach? We got to jack up this whole knuckle now, so that'll reach the nut. All right, let's work on that. All right, that ought to do it. We got our lower studs tightened for the coilover. Got the new uppers tightened. Ball joint from upper control arm. Tie rod end links. Sway bar end links. Tie rod. That should be nice and tight. Let's give it one more jam. All right. After all your major components are tightened back together, don't forget your ABS bracket. Both this one and the one up there, the plastic one. Very important. You don't want that to get stressed and ripped out of position. Ready? All right, so before the leveling kit, we were at 37.5. We should be roughly at 38.5, a full inch higher now. Let's see where we're at. 38 and 38.5. Solid. Solid inch lift.